Please be seated. Now we have much awaiting person to be here. Julie is going to give us the update about Education and Hope Ministry. After that, we will give away the awards and the rest of the Mass will continue.
Good morning. Thank you, Father Rojan, Father Dave this morning, and thanks to all of you for welcoming me here for this annual update. Due to the miracle of technology, we also have people from Guatemala joining us on the live stream and a few friends from around the country. So good morning, everyone. This has been a year of exciting growth for Education and Hope. I'm grateful to have the space to share what's been going on, so thanks for letting me add a few minutes to the end of your Mass. Today we celebrate the third Sunday of Advent, Gaudete Sunday. I think all of you little ones just heard that Gaudete means rejoice. I invite you to let the word rejoice reverberate as you take in the faces on the screen behind me. While much of the world has moved on from pandemic life, in Guatemala we only just resumed regular activities a few months ago. In June, when schools were back in regular sessions, we were finally able to reopen our after-school program. After over 2 years of not meeting regularly, it was an incredible homecoming. The sheer intensity of the joy is indescribable. On my first trip back to Xela in January, my arrival was kept a surprise. I snuck into a room where a team of cooks and housekeepers were gathered, and I was greeted with shrieks and heaving sobs. It was one of the most tender moments I think I've ever experienced. We cried and hugged and then cried some more. Throughout isolation, everyone was under great duress, but managing the best they could. When we were reunited, it was as if they had finally had permission to let it all out, to admit how scary and lonely that time had been, to rejoice in this return to comfort. Afterward, having said everything with our tears, we just sat and smiled and soaked up the miracle of being together again. The kids were over the moon with happiness. Many of the youngest ones only knew us virtually, so they had no idea what they'd been missing. It was such a treat to watch so many new kids experience our program for the first time. Since most of our children are accustomed to eating very sparse meals at home, they were astonished by the variety and quantity of food that we serve. Our typical lunch will almost always include a main dish accompanied by a bowl of soup or often a piece of fresh fruit, like watermelon. As they reached out to receive multiple plates, eyes grew wide with astonishment. All of this food is for me? It was a powerful reminder of how something as simple as a balanced meal can feel so miraculous. Education and Hope is thriving thanks to your generosity. In the last few years, our work has grown in many ways, and I thought it might be helpful to give you a brief overview of what the program looks like lately. Our main activity in the after-school program is still homework help, but our work extends far beyond scholarships and tutoring. Our approach is holistic. We focus on strengthening academic achievement while bolstering physical, mental, and emotional health and wellness. Good nutrition is a foundational element in our program, and many of you know that we serve 2 nutritious meals daily, and 3 if you're lucky enough to be among the morning staff. With malnutrition affecting a high percentage in our community, these meals are an essential staple for every program member. Additionally, we have a monthly food pantry program that supports the need of 45 families. Medical attention has long been an important aspect of our work, but now we're fortunate to have 2 nurses and 1 nutritionist working together on staff. All 3 of these young women are recent graduates of our program. They offer acute care on site and organize group activities to educate our community. The individual attention provided has successfully lowered the risk of malnutrition in all our critical cases. As for our mental health initiative, it's impossible to imagine how we survived for so many years without this incredible resource. We now have 2 therapists on staff and recently welcomed a 3rd special education therapist. This team offers one-on-one therapy sessions, family therapy, group workshops for teenagers, and educational workshops for our teachers and administrative staff. Trauma has shaped the lives of a great majority in our community, and anxiety and depression are widespread. It's been transformational to have this dedicated support. The ability to strengthen and grow this essential program to add resources and staff to meet the ever-increasing demand for services has made an indescribable impact on the health of our community. Our food sovereignty initiative is an organic farm with a strong educational element and a goal of improving the health, well-being, and integrity of our community. This program teaches basic nutrition concepts, facilitates a reconnection to ancestral Mayan farming techniques, and emphasizes our collective responsibility to be good stewards of the land. It creates avenues for agency by offering students and families opportunities to give back to our program through planting and harvesting. It's very exciting to share that this year the farm yielded 1,600 pounds of corn, 300 pounds of black beans, 100 pieces of squash, and 50 pounds of nutritious, super dense greens and medicinal herbs, all entirely organic. And brand new last month is our Early Childhood Initiative, a Montessori-inspired program for children ages 0 to 5. 18 students are now enrolled. My dream was to expand our existing daycare, and I entrusted 3 of our teachers with my vision of creating a more formal early education program. They created the entire project, assuming all responsibility from design and curriculum development to the hiring and training of new teachers. Our own carpenters then built the breathtakingly beautiful classroom. It was a thrill to experience the pride and satisfaction at having been empowered to bring this dream to fruition with such confidence and skill. In 2022, we had 16 new high school graduates, which brings us to a total of 214 high school graduates to date. At the university level, Emilia Oslach, who may be listening right now, received her degree in nursing, making her our 27th university graduate. What makes her achievement even more exceptional is that when she was in 6th grade, Emilia dropped out of school to work and help her younger brother, Fernando, finish school. With our help, she finally returned to the classroom at age 18 and has been working hard for the last 10 years to make this dream come true. This year, Education and Hope provided 185 students with comprehensive scholarship support. That's 185 kids who might not be in school without our help. 130 students attend the after-school program, which is why you'll notice in the photos that our comedor is bursting at the seams. And last but not least, certainly not least, our beloved staff. Education and Hope provides stable and dignified employment to 59 people, full and part-time staff. I'm so proud to tell you that a full 47%, almost half of our employees, are Education and Hope graduates. It's life-giving to have so many young people who grew up in our program, people who have walked in the very same shoes of those we serve, become our bright and competent leaders. The striking degree of loyalty and dedication you'll witness among our staff is one of the biggest reasons our work has been so successful. So that was a lot of data. I realize it's hard to take it all in, but know that all of these are highlights from a program sustained by community giving. Everything is made possible through individual donations, large and small gifts, grants, and active service. We have regular monthly donors and big annual gifts. There are gifts made in memory of loved ones, gifts marking special occasions. We have the generosity of the giving tree right here at St. Jerome, providing a new fleece sweater and pair of jeans for every program member. We have amazing volunteers who pack bags, who write thank you notes, and who deftly balance our books. Each of these offerings, great and small, makes up an essential part of sustaining our amazing outreach. Those of you who've heard me in the past know that I like to tell the story of one person whose life has been transformed by our work to illustrate the great love at the heart of who we are and what we do. This year, I felt it was important to spotlight the entirety of what we're creating together. 2.5 decades ago, the seeds of this grassroots work were planted and then nourished by this St. Jerome community. Our vibrant community-supported work is an astonishing thing to witness. None of what we do would have been possible without your generosity. As many of you know, earlier this year, Education and Hope lost one of its biggest fans. My father, Gene Coyne. My dad would always sit right up here in the front pews each time I gave an update to the parish. Watching him, I could immediately tell how my words were landing. His face would beam. His eyes would just glisten. He was my emotional barometer. So many in our extended community have never known the influence of a loving and supportive father. My good fortune to have been loved as unconditionally as I have been is a gift that I share daily with our Education and Hope family. I know my dad is present in much of who I am and therefore present in all that I share with others. Each time I'm able to add love where it is lacking, I know my dad is there with me too. My dad's most legendary gift was transporting me back and forth to the airport these last 28 years. No matter what time, day or night, he was always waiting curbside to make sure I was successfully able to check in the hundreds and hundreds of pounds of luggage that I'd carry with me to Guatemala. I know it was a strain on his anxious heart, but he showed up nonetheless. I'm inspired to consider his steadfast willingness to show up, to offer support in the way he knew how to. This gift of presence is something I think a lot about. When faced with overwhelming need, it's easy to imagine that we're powerless to alleviate great suffering. And yet sometimes it's the act of just showing up to offer our presence that makes all the difference. The mantra of our work is being with, not doing for. Our Education and Hope family members navigate staggeringly difficult situations every day. And as much as we might wish, there are no quick fixes to resolve these impossible burdens that they have been tasked with carrying. We can't solve everything, but each day we show up to bear these difficulties with them. We offer small things, a warm meal, a lingering hug. We listen with compassion to those who need to share their story. We offer the life-altering gift of being seen. Walking beside one another in community, we alleviate the pain of loneliness. Look at these faces behind me. Behold the great joy that bursts forth off the screen, a gratitude-filled joy that cannot be contained. Our presence in these lives is a light in the darkness. They're not joyful because all of their problems have been solved. They are joyful because they know they have been loved beyond measure. They know their lives matter. Our program is a refuge, a safe space where our community can set down their heavy burdens, even if only for a little while, and be nurtured by our attentive care. Hope arises with the embodied knowing that we are not alone in our struggles. Thank you for all you do to provide these ordinary miracles of comfort and care, of nourishment and protection. Together we are creating a community of healing and love that makes a new future possible. Thank you.